Hi, guys. Good evening. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Before we get started, I think we'd like to play a short video about Shyamal and Bhumika. I hope you enjoy it.
The Shyamal and Bhumika muse is an independent woman, effortlessly elegant, has a unique sense of style, and values her roots and traditions, regardless of wherever she lives in the world. Her artisanal workmanship appeals to her global thought, and she styles herself in handcrafted couture for her important day. Our muse enjoys Western nuances juxtaposed with the intricate crafts of her region.
Me and Bhumika are very, very attached to the beautiful craft of our country. We are very attached to our history, heritage. We want to take that to the world. We want to take India to the world.
So I think usually when I introduce the speakers, I'm sharing a lot of facts and a lot of figures about them. But I think today's introduction is going to be more of something that comes straight from my heart. So when I was younger and in the process of choosing my career path, I was told many times by a lot of people that choose your career based on what your environment supports. You live in Ahmedabad and the ecosystem here has its limitations. So, do what is possible over here. But today, over here, we have the virtuoso of the fashion industry with us who have proved that anything is possible if you choose to pursue your dreams with hard work and clear vision, no matter where you live. It is with great pleasure that I would like to introduce to you the people who have transformed the face of Ahmedabad fashion and created one of the most prominent fashion houses in India, an inspiration and an ideal for everyone and everybody who wishes to create a career in the fashion industry. Mr. Shyamal Shodhan and Ms. Bhumika Shodhan from the globally renowned brand Shyamal and Bhumika. If we could have a Ms. Bhumika Shodhan is a graduate in fashion from the National Institute of Fashion and Technology in Ahmedabad. And Mr. Shyamal Shodhan, having a background in business and commerce, later went to Milan to pursue Italian designing. Today, the couple is a globally renowned name in fashion with a very elegant and exclusive selection of designs for their brand, as we've all already seen in this video today. Their line of couture is a personal favorite for many Bollywood celebrities, with stores not just in India, but in several locations across the globe. They have truly created a global presence for themselves and created a mark in the fashion industry. The designs are admired and pursued as the dream couture for brides across the globe. I'd request Mr. Nirmam Javeri, Chairperson of GCCI Youth Wing, to please welcome and felicitate Mr. Shyamal Shodhan. I'd like to invite Mr. Hemal Prajapati, co-chair of GCCI Youth Wing, to please felicitate Ms. Bhumika Shodhan. Thank you, Shyamal Bhai and Bhumika Ben, for joining us today. It is such an honor to have you over here with us. We've heard great stories about your success and how you started your career. I think the first time we met you, you shared a few things about how you started your journey from scratch and created a brand like this. I think that was very inspiring for us, and we really look forward to hearing more about it from you. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Well, I think the video probably did a bit of the job, and I was telling Siddesh and the committee that it kind of visited us at the store, that the work is, my words will not justify the kind of work we are doing, but I'm going to give it a shot. So yes, we started. One of the secrets I say to being successful in business is starting early. When you start early, you get a lot of time to sort of fail and get back up again. You get a lot of time for trial and error. And am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So we started when I was 20, and I think Bhumika was probably 19, not yet graduated from NIFT, probably 6 months to go. So I was sent out after my graduation in commerce to Hyderabad to sort of, go and explore and toughen up a little bit. I was sent to do an internship somewhere. And in 1 month, I got a little bored, and I got, entrepreneurial itch, you might call it. Bhumika was visiting me. She was in Bangalore at the time, and she was visiting me, and I took her to the weavers over there. And I suddenly got interested after seeing how lovely, what a lovely art and what kind of craft we had in our country. We developed lovely fabrics, hand-woven fabrics with the weavers there. Bhumika sent me designs from where she was in Bangalore. And we used our rental allowance that our family had kind of sent us to pay our rent. We collected it a little bit, and we used it up for starting up on our own. And before that, if I were to give you a little bit of history on why I thought that, this would be a short success for us, is that when at 17, when we just started going around, I used to go and pick up Bhumika at her house on Saturday. We were not allowed to kind of, go out that much, but Saturdays was allowed. And when I used to go and pick her up on my kinetic Honda, I would be waiting outside, and she would like, give me 5 minutes. And that would be like, not 5 minutes, but maybe half an hour or 45 minutes. And then her mom would say, why don't you come in and, have a sandwich or something with me? So she would be making her outfit for that evening with her home tailor, and it would be something fancy, and it would be in the stages of completion. And, so that's why the delay. And then we would go out, and people would admire the outfit or laugh at it. Both of the things were good, because it was something unique, so if somebody who doesn't understand fashion would say, oh my God, what the hell is that? And somebody who understands fashion would say, oh my God, how did she even make this? So, my family has been over the last probably 1 or 2 generations into more kind of finer things, art and, design and stuff like that, product design, advertising, stuff like that. So I had a creative bent, but Bhumika's passion for fashion drew me to fashion. I used to go to drop her and pick her up from NIFT, and then spend some hours in their lab when she was finishing her project or something. And I was kind of spending more time in fashion than I was spending in commerce. That's something I realized by the end of my third year. So, and still that spark had still not gone off. But when we actually saw the weavers weave the fabric, and then I was free to start my venture because I had finished college. And we had that bit of rental money lying in the account. That is when I think the real entrepreneur in me said, hey, let's start this, and that's how it all started. We made one collection of 40 pieces,
Yes,
and it
about
was a
that
big
much.
hit.
It was
And,
very well
yeah.
appreciated. People loved it, and we were on top of the world that it had received great response. So that's
That was 20 when we were 20 years old.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So my dad was kind enough to lend me a loan of ₹1,00,000. This is 99. And that's how the journey started. That was the capital, and that was how we started off. Bhumika's graduating collection from NIFT was our first couture collection because it was all about reviving the Ahmedabadi weaving
Yes.
technique.
Yes,
Yeah.
all about the real zari weaving technique, something which had died over the years. So we had heirloom pieces which belonged to the family. And I took those to the weavers. I said, let's work on reviving these. And there was, of course, a lot of resistance that nobody does this kind of zari. So it took months of persuasion and repeated visits to the unit there, and convincing the weavers that yes, there is Banaras, there's a lot of competition, but here you have an exclusive product, so why not try and revive it? So the whole, I centered my final project and the whole collection around the Ahmedabadi weave. So it was very unique, different, but that was real couture and the beginning of it all.
So after that, then we had to explain to people in Ahmedabad at the time, and I'm not saying everybody, but many clients, that we are fashion designers, and this is how a designer operates, and this is how things are done. Because at that point of time in 99, 2000,
Can you talk a little bit
So
more
as I
about
said,
that?
people started calling us Shyamal and Bhumika over here. And so then we registered the label. There was some, there's a handwriting analyst who we consulted, who used to come home for tea, and he said, this is how the name should be spelled out. You know, somewhat similar to numerology that people go to right now. Not that I believe it in too much, but at that point of time, he said, this is how it should be. So we just went and registered it, and that's 2002 or 3 or something like that. And
The focus was to create a business that meant something. The focus was always, there was a purpose in mind since Shyamal was a teenager. He always had that objective in mind that the business should be a certain scale and that's how it should be. So yes, the brand was made with that purpose.
I mean, 2 or 3 generations before in my family, we were a textile group and all that. And I always, at 15, I was told that those days are over. And that when you grow up, like you're 15 now, you will have to start and do everything on your own. And if you think your last name or anything is going to help you out, do not be in that kind of, So my mom was really straight up, very frank. So I started thinking since 15. And I think around the time when we met at 17, I was like, listen, we went around for a week, but now I don't have time because I got to study a little bit. I have to work very hard. And she was laughing all the way. So, yeah, but see, the thing is, when you do something that you love, so this was Bhumika's childhood hobby. I mean, she was making outfits for herself since she was very young, maybe 14 or 15 or something. So when you do something that you love, you never feel that you're working. And everything else, whether it's a brand, whether it is capital, whether it's something, everything else falls in place. It takes its own time. I would not say there were moments when I felt that, oh my God, wish I had this or wish I had that, or wish I had a lovely showroom or a large team. But we gradually built everything. And if you build it slowly and you build it yourself, nothing can shake you, not even a COVID-like lockdown. Throughout this lockdown, each of my stores, Los Angeles, Mumbai, Delhi, everything was profitable. We didn't lose money anywhere. We could pay our people. We have a large workforce. We could pay our people through and through. And, I was very worried initially what kind of lockdown and all that it will be, but we've gone through a lot of challenges, and every challenge taught us something, and it made the brand, the business so robust that my team could literally run it through this time, So
You want to talk about Facebook and how we sort of...
So, okay, some other ideas at the start when I was a young entrepreneur at 20. I don't want to do anything that that China can do easily. Like a lot of people came to me and say, why don't you do t-shirts and why don't you do this and that? And at the time, China was really growing fast. And a lot of I could see a lot of my friends, parents and all, they were going through difficulties because their units were shutting down because they were not able to match prices of. So I said, let's build a business which involves a lot of customization and something special that nobody else can replicate, and do it in a mass and outbid you in the price and stuff like that. So because you guys are GCCI, so I'm giving you the entrepreneurial angle rather than the fashion angle. And that kind of customization and the whole method that we are following has helped us through all this difficult time, all the challenging times, and the business has been able to remain profitable. We were doing very well by the time 2006-07, and then I was consulting other brands as well. And in 2008 and 9, if you remember, there was a Bombay bombing of Taj and the Oberoi, and subsequent recession in the market. Yeah, big recession, the collapse of Lehman and whatever. So being only in Ahmedabad, being in Ahmedabad was challenging, and I would be lying if I would say that I haven't proposed to Bhumika to move to Bombay or some other city. I would have thought about it 100 times, but Bhumika was like, the family life we would have here and our kids, and that is not, there is not a chance that we would have that kind of settled, lovely, and she was right.
Ahmedabad's made us foundationally stronger. We are independent of, we are it's integrated with the industry as and when we want to be, very honestly. So it gives us a lot of breathing space, which both of us looking at our natures is very important, that little privacy that we have, and you get back into your own zone when you want to. So that's played a very important role.
Being in a big city means that you're always answerable to a journalist who wants to meet you, or a major here we used to do our shows, finish our work, take the next flight, we are back, we are out of the whole politics and all of those. I mean, at the top there is a lot happening. It's good to take a step back, and people know that you don't live there, so you're excused from a lot of things. But again, so coming back to the recession in 2008-9, I was only having a location in Ahmedabad, and we were very NRI dependent on sales. So I said, and everybody was getting pink slips abroad, so they were not ready to leave their job and travel to India to shop. So suddenly there was a dip in the sales, and I was like, oh my God, I need to leave all these consulting things that I'm doing and focus on my business because it's stagnated. And the first thought I got is that if people are not coming here to shop, let's start going abroad and trying to make a market there. And one of my mentors, who was at that point, chairman of Unilever, I read one of his messages which said, make new markets, So our field is so new that there is so much to be done. And there's so much market there that you don't need to get into a competitive Delhi or Bombay and, eat into each other's market shares. In fact, that kind of word I've never used, in fact, in any of our business meetings, that, okay, we should have more market share of Delhi or Bombay or anything. I went abroad, I went to the US, I went to the UK, and we developed new markets over there. And so this challenge of recession and people not traveling here and our business stagnating, that challenge led us to establish our business abroad. And right now, I think we are probably, if you ask your friends or cousins who are second generation there, we are one of the preferred brands, Indian brands for Indian wear in America. So I went there, I did a couple of shows. I realized the need for a platform where we could have our own following and invitation, methods. And that's how we established Facebook as a platform. And we became the most followed label in South Asia in a short period of like 4 years, from 2009 or 10 to 2014. And I think we had about 3 million people by 2014, collectively all platforms. And so I think that's a clip that shows probably, all our following. That's Instagram, that's Facebook. Okay. And if you see the gender, it's 80% women, I guess, which is how we built our following. And, because women are the guys who decide the shopping, even for the men, right? Go and get some new clothes for yourself is something the men must have heard a lot. So, these are some countries where we have a substantial following. Maybe US is probably 500,000, Bangladesh is there, UAE, Canada, UK, Pakistan, which somehow I haven't been able to service. And then many other countries. Indonesia also had a very large following. I remember we had, in 2011, we had 8,000 or 6,000 fans from Indonesia. I was very surprised, but yeah. So the business sort of kind of, it grew into several, the brand name grew into several countries. We got followed by a lot of interested people. And then the next plan was to open up retail everywhere, but that wasn't easily possible. In 2014, we took the business online. So what you call work from home teams and digital sales is something that we've been doing since 2011 or so. And by 2014, we stopped our shows and everything abroad, and we converted that, we took that whole business to the internet.
Online, yes.
So I was just checking one of my phones one of my
We
sales teams.
focused, rather than personally traveling and meeting the people there, we focused on building teams that could service clients efficiently with their inquiries. So that's how the whole internet business kept organically growing.
Yeah. So we have 2 or 3 shifts of teams that work 24/7, servicing clients everywhere in the world right now. And just before COVID, the COVID lockdowns, I traveled to the US and we opened, I mean, what a stroke of luck, but we opened in Los Angeles. So yeah, that was the start of our journey outside of India. We took a bit of a pause because of all this madness going on, and now we shall continue opening more stores, probably 1 or 2 more as things calm down a bit. And yeah, that's how it's been. And then I think there's a journey of our shows at Fashion Week. Okay, that's me in Atlanta in 2011. Okay. This is a show we did for Akshay Patra in the US. We collected funds for feeding 5,000 children for a year. Another colorful setup at, that's me in New York, in Manhattan, opposite the Jimmy Choo store, doing a show and our clothing being displayed over there. Hong Kong, Toronto, some tourism ads and stuff. These are our stores. We have stores in 2 stores in Ahmedabad, 1 in Emporio, Delhi, Mumbai, Los Angeles, and Hyderabad. Every time there was some kind of shakedown in the, like people, they get, COVID is the only probably big major challenge that I got scared at the start. But till then, whatever challenge came, like I had applied for space in a prestigious mall in Delhi, and the waitlist was so long that I never knew when I will get the space. And then demonetization hit, and retail suddenly nosedived. I was like, yeah, I mean, it'll come back. So why is everyone worried? I got the space. Same thing happened in 2006 in Lakme. People in the fashion industry here must be knowing that when you apply to these big events in Mumbai and Delhi, it's next to impossible to get in, And so something similar happened. I think there was some event and some space got generated. People loved my work, but they were not able to give me a slot in 2005. 2006, something happened and we got the slot. And once people saw our work on the ramp, then our position was cemented. And in our first debut show, the collection was featured in El America. And that is the beauty of Fashion Week, that you have 200 plus media people broadcasting the shows everywhere in the world. And it's a very professional setup that immediately professionalizes all your presentation and gives a big boost to the brand. So what happens next? Those are the stores. Do you have the shows, Nishant? But that's the LA store. That's the new Ahmedabad store. And this is the workshop. We renovated. That's me in the white shirt and my people celebrating Diwali in 3 years back. We took up an old building which was lying dilapidated, rewired the whole place, and now my people enjoy this lovely ventilated place with a 12-13 foot ceiling in the city near their house, near their homes. And in COVID, because of the ventilation and nice space, we had not much issues. It's a lovely place. Go ahead. These are some celebrities that have been wearing our outfits. Sorry, I'm gonna get up so I don't have to turn around. Okay, that is Nishan. Can you go back to the previous clip? Okay, so you have Katrina, Pariniti, Alia, Kangna. Those are our showstoppers. Kriti, sorry, I don't watch movies, so Kriti and
there's Diana, there's Athia, there's Kangana.
Kangna for sure. I would remember because when the issue happened with the Thakre family and those during COVID, my team sent me an image from the TV. They're like, look how Kangna's image is being portrayed. I was on the right and Bhumika on the left, and saying Kangana is coming to Mumbai to fight with the Thakres. I was like, my store is gone now. It's going to get burned only. But yeah, so that's Diana Penty. That's Sunil Shetty's daughter is Athia. Yeah. Okay, next clip. I got all this data collected so that you would know that, a brand from Ahmedabad can do this. It's difficult. It's difficult. But if you keep working for 20 years like I did, somewhere you'll get some success. So, okay. That's Bangalore. That's Pariniti at our show. That's Dea Mirza, our friend who was lovely showstopper
There's
for us.
Sonam, there's Hemaji with the
Yes.
daughter. So.
Hemaji and okay, go back to the previous clip, Nishant. On the left, Sonakshi, you see is the Cancer Society show that we did here. You have a clip to show that later? Okay, cool. Go ahead. Okay, and if you have favorites, that's the movie we had our costumes in on the right. Athia and Ilyana, they wore our outfits. Yes. That's Mrinal Thakur, I think, who just wore our outfit in some recent movie. Juhi Chawla recent. Sharmila Tagore here. Madhuri is always, she wears our outfits very often. And Aditi Rao Hydari and Jacqueline. Okay, some magazine covers and some more celebrities. Okay. Okay, so that's a young Anushka Sharma in my show. Can you see that in the middle? Green and purple. That's a young Diana Penty. That's a young Mugdha Godse.
So these were our models at some point.
At some point. Even Kriti was a model before, I think, with us. That's a new movie in the South coming up. The actress is wearing up our sari in the poster. It's called Kalavati. Yes. Has it been released? No, not yet. Yeah. So this is an upcoming. So even South now we are gaining a little bit of ground. I'm being very businessy here, as much as I would know, because you guys are all GCCI. So, these are all the sports people, badminton and tennis and Sanya. And yeah, that's one of our shows. What a lovely ramp we recreated over there. That's my first show. This is the one that was featured all over, 2006.
So what you won't know is that sets for these shows are created overnight. We just have about 12 to 14 hours to create an experience. So it takes a month to design it, and then you're left only with 12 hours to create it. So it's really nerve-wracking, but we have the best of professionals in the industry working with us and doing that, creating these larger-than-life sets for the shows, Couture Week especially. So
that's just go one clip back. Bhumika left me alone in that show. We were expecting our first baby. So, all through this, we had two lovely children, and, Bhumika got back to work in 1 month after each of the deliveries. And you can have that commitment if you love your, work and you don't feel like working. So, okay. That's Gam. We were inspired from Gujarat villages and we made this collection. That's the Western collections, Mughal inspired. Go ahead, Nishant, go ahead. That's Holi inspired. It's Bangalore fashion, go ahead. That's my friends Salim and Suleiman and Sunidhi Chauhan singing for us.
That's the cancer.
That's a cancer show. So we raised 3 crores in that one night for Gujarat Cancer Society in those days. This is 2010. And I think Chief Minister Modi at the time, he also gave us a, that's Maharaja, one of our
iconic collections.
Iconic collections. The Royal Procession, Mystical Gardens, 2014. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. That's Couture Week. That's our debut at Couture Week. Couture Week is a very, very tight and select circle of designers who get to do shows at Couture Week. 8 to 10 designers, the top ones in the country. Okay, go ahead. Those are our campaigns. We try to be as professional as possible in our campaigns and everything, whatever the cost. We never looked at We never compromised, even in presentation. And you must imagine, you must think that everything that I've done, if a designer based in Bombay or Delhi were to do it, it's very easy for them. All the talent is there. For me, I had to fly in everything from here. My teams go from here. They finish the fittings, come back, go again. And I think 2000.
Some of these campaigns we did not have a store at that point.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult.
Also,
then,
in 2002, we started a small studio in Mumbai. Bhumika and I used to take the train, Karnavati and Shatabdi at the time. So from 2002 to 2005, we did every weekend in Mumbai. A little bit of partying, but a lot of work. And from 2005, I think there was something called Air Deccan that started. And there's a small plane. I finished my work here at 7. And I reached 15 minutes before the flight and threw my bag in like that because it was a small plane. They allowed it. And I would go there and work in that small studio.
So we worked weekends in Bombay.
Yeah. So we were working 7 days, basically. Yeah. This is one of my ancestors. He designed this lovely house, and back in I think early 1900s. The White Haveli they call it now, but you guys must have seen it in the media somewhere. So that was cleaned up, and we did a shoot there. Okay.
This is Baroda Palace. Yeah. That's Modhera Sun Temple.
And all this while,
and these are very difficult sites. These are not easy to execute.
Yeah, these are not easy sites to do your shoot and everything. Very
Firstly,
difficult.
you have a team of about 20, 25, 30 odd people flying in from different cities, and then showing up at the right time.
Every show of ours would have a 40 people talent at the backstage, and every shoot must be having a 28 to 30 people, team. That's the one we did recently in Udaipur. So do you have the press also? So one very important thing I always stuck to was sustainability from the start. We did not want to do anything that's not biodegradable. We were very strict about it. We always wanted to do something that would be more meaningful. That's a very important point that I must say. It took me through all the challenges. We always wanted to do something that would generate employment. It would not harm, the earth or the atmosphere. And you can't do all good things at one point, but I would say we try to do our maximum. And keeping all that in mind, I think. I always tell my teams when they are not performing well enough, I'm always telling them that there are 1,000 people whose families are being fed with your effort. So if some store is not doing well, that is the only line I have to go there and tell them. And that motivation comes in them as well, because they know they are responsible for, feeding 1,000 families. So that is the kind of workforce we have right now. About 200 or 300 of them probably are in my workshop, and then scattered over different villages and towns across the country. So, yeah. So this is some of the press that Nishant has collected for you. Some of my designer friends, okay, before Couture Week. And that was the first, probably the first Ahmedabadi designer on the front page of Bombay Times. And then subsequently, the editorial team of Bombay Times at that time loved us. And I think one junior was fired for giving us too much coverage at some point, because a lot of other designers wanted it and they never got it. But yeah. That's a cancer charity show again. Okay. That's Vogue. That's Entrepreneur. Okay. That's Atlanta. Some covers. So, any more questions you guys would have?
Shyamal, when you speak about all these shows and the marketing, so just a ballpark figure. Let's say it's one shoot or one show. what is an X amount that you would be willing to spend? That okay, this is the
So
estimate.
that's the good part. See, I didn't have, I, I was not, I was using my own money that I'd made over whatever, 10, 15 years. So we never set a budget. It's not a good thing to do, but we are more heart people than brain people, and when it comes, Bhumika always says that Shyamal, you are not a good businessman. So, but the thing is, when you kind of are doing a show at this level, you don't want to make any compromise. And so when the show comes close, it could go to anything.
I prefer not looking at those figures, honestly.
Yeah. I saved a lot of money during COVID. You know why? Because all the shows were closed.
Correct. See, not everyone is here from the same industry, right?
Right.
So just to have a ballpark figure that, okay, one show on an average would cost an X amount. That
Right.
this is, so anyone who's entering or who even thinks of entering this business, they know that, okay, this is the minimum that we have to keep aside or spend.
Sponsored shows, they will not cost much. Maybe 10, 12 lakhs, if you don't do anything, but if you start improving the show, then a minimum, I think.
This is with the set, with the, amazing showstoppers.
Yeah. So if you see my last
best
show,
of models and everything.
Yeah. If you see my last show, I think we must have spent probably 60 lakhs around in one day, one night, it's gone. So, and then once it's done, then you're a Gujarati. So obviously, when you're sitting with the teams, you are thinking that we will have to recover this money from these things, whatever the images we are getting and that from the show. So
it's simple. Jetlu pilu gadu gol nakho ne gadu thai. It's exactly that.
Exactly.
And there's no end to perfection.
Can you imagine what it would take for a Kriti or a Kiara to fly in from Mumbai, and when you're hosting a celebrity, you are being very generous. Anything they can ask for anything. So yeah. So just that would kind of run up a lot of bills.
And these teams that you talked about, who work 24/7, that there are 3 teams who it's US market or Indian market or any market.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you come to build those teams? Is it that you instill, so let's say you have all your pieces have extensive embroideries. So have you pre-decided that, okay, in this embroidery we'll have 5 colors or it is customizable?
So that is one place where we have kept a very large number of options open. We let people choose. And once they say that, okay, supposing she lives in Canada and she says, I want a red. So we'll say, which red? So she'll say, okay, this red, from one of my images, but her screen and my screen is different. So what we typically do is we ship her 5 tones of red. So that little packet of swatches that cost me $1,000 to ship to Canada. And we ship her a measure tape.
Before we close an order.
Before we close the order.
And
so once she chooses the tone, and there are some systems that we learned over the years. Now I'm doing this since 12 years, right? We are doing things, business abroad since 12 years. So when COVID happened, people were talking of work from home teams. I was like, okay, the teams I have at working from home who haven't met me since a year, they are called work from home teams. But the transition was smoother for us.
So on an average, if it is US, how many people would be employed there on your payroll who are just handling your business, sales, or driving?
So the thing is that, we are a little conservative also. We don't go overboard in things. We are self-made. So it's not like we have a 50 people team doing it, but we have a large team and a basic team of about 22 to 25 people who double up as who multitask. They might be doing say an X job, and they might also take on a Y job to do. So we don't have dedicated large team, but as and when we need to move somebody from, say, suppose the online team is falling short, I can always give a Bombay team member to them to support them, for example. So right now, if you see 2 people from Bombay are supporting online, 2 people from LA are supporting online. Ahmedabad, probably 2 or 3 people have been added to support online. When COVID happened, we had to add these 7 people in, and the stores were closed, so they were free anyways. So yeah, dedicated team is small, but as and when the need be, people are moved from other sections of the business. So yeah.
how do you revive, as you said that you revive the old styles of, I don't know much about fashion, but old styles of weaving or embroidery or, different ways of making the cloth, right? So
So there are
how do you revive that?
artisans. See, India has a very rich heritage, right? We are a country. We have the maximum variety, I would say, in textile or embroidery, and a very, very rich heritage of all this. This is about a couple of hundred or 1,000 years old, at least. So there are these pockets. There are craft pockets everywhere in our country. What happens is that artisans tend to go jobless at some point, not find enough work, and that's why they give up their profession. So that's where we come in, that no, don't do that. Let's kind of train you, your children. Let's we guarantee you that kind of work. So we first bring them to a certain refinement that our business requires. We stabilize them, we make them very organized, whether they're working from their homes or they're coming to common places where there's a group working, which we put up for them, or they're working in our own workshops. So firstly, you educate them that, why is this important? Then you pay them enough for them to continue doing this. Nobody works if they're not paid well. So we realized over a period of time that, people, artisans especially, they don't have any savings. They don't have money. It's how the country has been since a very long time. So to organize this takes immense effort, and it's a commitment. Our commitment is taking India to the world. We love fabrics that are made in India. We work with embroideries only done here. We are all about reviving the handcrafted textiles and the embroideries. So this is the simplest, explanation that I can give in layman language, that you keep them motivated and you show them a purpose, and that's how they keep coming every day to do the same task. Otherwise, it's very easy to take up an alternate job for them.
Because doing that is harder. Picking up a job.
Firstly, you have to be committed to your cause, and only then you can pass it on to somebody who you want, to get the job done. So
and also that the second generation of all these artisans, they want to sit on a computer. They want to sit on a computer job. They think that that is the better thing to do. But if you reward them well enough for their art or their craft, and they see that instead of sitting on a computer, I'm going to get 3 times more money.
You show them the respect. You show them that there is value to the work you do. Then that is where it all makes a difference. Everybody wants to be respected for the work they do. So that's why they maybe look at a desk job. But if you tell them that, no, this is art that you're creating, and it's only you who are doing it, there's nobody else, then they start valuing it themselves. And that's how we kind of motivate them and encourage them to.
Yeah, I think these are the jobs that are going to be more rewarding. I always tell my accountants when the appraisals are happening in the company, and we are rewarding some person who's really good in his craft by yearly appraisal of 30-40%. My accountants would be like, 30-40% appraisal for them and not for the rest of the admin team. I'm like, yes, that's how it is, because admin is now becoming very common. For me to find an accountant or me to find an administration person, it's like everybody is trained for that now. But this skill has become rare. A good tailor, for example, is very rare. A good embroiderer, very rare. So right. Yeah. Well, even if you see countries like France and America and stuff, there are tailors and stuff over there as well. There are seamstresses, So they developed a lot, but this art existed. So this is going to be a big challenge. But let's hope that people like people in the next generation of designers, and they go for handcraft and not for many mechanized things. So let's hope that this whole project that we've taken up and the designers before us have taken up, and many of the young people who are taking it up now, that whole trend continues. And so once upon a time, there was a need for us to mechanize, like somebody, and initially Shumona said, how about, her family told her, let's do something that you can do from Ahmedabad, Now I'll tell you a story of a gentleman who in the middle 1800s, when we needed to mechanize, British imports were eating into our reserves, our country's reserves. So they used to get our cotton, make fabric there, and sell it back to us at a much higher price. So this gentleman from Ahmedabad, he had this plan ready, and somebody had executed his plan somewhere near Bombay and made a mill from that plan. He said, okay, he was a person in a job. And so he said, okay, my plan has been put in place partially by somebody in Mumbai. It was a plan of making a business plan of making a mill, with all the technical details and everything. And at that point, he had to compete with the British. He had to save our Indian money going out. So, being from Ahmedabad, he ordered. He first he did not have money. He took on shareholders. Shareholders were Sarabhais, Lalbhais, whatever their families were called at that point. The surnames were a little different. So there were 5 shareholders. He imported machinery from Britain through a gentleman called Dadabhai Navroji. You guys must have read about him. The ship sank. The ship that was carrying the machinery sank. I'm talking about this project was the founder of the mill industry and industry in general in Ahmedabad. So even though he was from Ahmedabad, he ordered this machinery. The first machinery sank. Luckily, Dadabhai Navroji had insured it. The second ship came with the machinery. It was offloaded at Khambat. He got it in a bullock cart to Ahmedabad. Just imagine. It came here in a bullock cart. The engineer got malaria and he died, the British engineer. They tried to assemble it by themselves. So this gentleman and his astrologer friend, who was also an engineer. So once you have said something, once you have this in your mind that I have my mission of India to the world, then come what may, it's so.
Ahmedabad got to be called Manchester of the East.
Yeah. So this gentleman, he put up, his project got delayed. Eventually in 1860, he could open his mill of 2000 spindles or whatever it's called. Sorry, I don't know much about machines, and so he could start the first mill. And then I'm looking at his business success. Ahmedabad was just a trading center at that point. Silk, jewelry, and those kind of things were being traded. It was a trading center, no industry. And so this person took this initiative and established industry over here. His shareholders, the Lalbhais and Sarabhais, those families followed him. They put up more mills. It became Manchester of the East, and that's how. If somebody believes in something, it can happen even in Ahmedabad. Anything. I mean, yeah, it is very, very difficult what we have done staying here, and that we could easily we have some family in Mumbai, so we could easily have made the move. But somehow, I think the foundation, as Bhumika mentioned, has been much better here. And
when you talk of artisans or people retaining, I think as long as you're able to create respect for the job they're doing and the work they do, they will continue to do that. And we can only hope that it kind of keeps working that way, and this doesn't result into something which becomes machine made. So that's what India is known for, and for generations.
Many a time when people join us from other designers and other businesses, they're like, "Oh my God, this can be done on a machine. Why are you doing it by hand and paying so much?" And it's always like you do feel stupid for that 1 minute.
Business sense, but it keeps an art alive.
Yes.
So that's where the emotional aspect comes in.
It keeps your art alive, and it keeps the fire in you going, because you're supporting a cause. You're after that cause. For example, this Cancer Society show, Bhumika and I never had any experience in fund collection, or what do you call it? Fundraising. But we did that, and we did the event. And I think at the end, I was in tears And so now she's like, Shyamal, we have to go out. We have to go out. Stop crying. Let's go. So I was so tired. So it's like when you are after a cause, and like India to the world is in my head. Whatever challenge may come, I'll still be able to eventually make it happen. So you have to figure out your mission at the start. You have to do something that is entrepreneurially robust, something that is sustainable. So you never feel that, oh my God, I'm killing so many people making this pack of cigarettes or whatever it is. So I'm just giving you an example. So you got to do something noble. And if you are privileged enough to know that this is the right thing to do, then you are lucky, so.
What are the changes you have seen in recent times, like which was not there earlier, but you see them now?
Well, recent times, you guys are all entrepreneurs, I'm assuming. So you must have read in the papers that many of my friends got sold. That was a major change in our industry, that a lot of equity got changed hands. A lot of Birlas and Ambanis and all those guys, I should say, Birla Retail and Reliance Retail, they invested in designers. They started getting interested in, people have been telling me since 10 years that this is the sunrise industry. And I've been having investment offers in my business since 2006 from people from abroad, from everywhere. So that's what, 14 years, 16 years now. So, but that has started materializing now in our industry. And so a lot of people who thought wise to exit their controlling stake at this point and hand over their business to a bigger business group who could take it forward did that. So that has been a major change. And at this time, if you ask in the last 2 years, so some of the numbers were shocking, but yeah, it has been and it's a very difficult business to be in, actually, in the sense that our overheads are huge. Keeping so many people on your payroll, not working through automated machines. But, as I said, the cause keeps you going. But if some other financial person who doesn't have passion for this were to look at the numbers, the kind of payouts every month and all that, they could get scared. So, yeah. The good part was I was not looking at my numbers for a very long time. And then Bhumika is actually better than me at most of the things, including, you must be thinking just the design bit, but also at business. So one day she asked the accountant for an MIS, which we were doing with another consulting project, and they used to only work by these MISs. So that's when we realized that
Because
those
when you
days,
want to grow, when you keep growing, you have to kind of keep your checks in place. So
Yeah.
that's how I think it.
Yeah, and those days we realized that we were paying out. This is few years back. 60 lakhs a month was our outflow. Right now, it's probably even a crazier, maybe 5x, 7x. I don't know what X. I am scared of these MISs, but yeah. So maybe many designers at this point, when this COVID happened, they had debt. They were carrying debt, and their outflows were probably 5, 7, 10 crores a month, and they might have gotten scared and tried to share the risk by diluting their equity. So yeah, that is a major change that has come in our industry. And right now, all the designers are talking to each other at parties. I was in Delhi last week, and all my designer friends were talking about the same thing. Isne kam price mein de diya, usne 50 crore mein de diya, that kind of thing. So people are talking numbers now. They're talking equity. They're talking numbers. They're consulting lawyers. Big change.
And also, like, offline versus online, like,
Yeah.
how do you see that online platform is going to evolve for fashion industry? Because
Online platform, how it's going to evolve? Okay.
yeah, because
Sorry, what's your name?
Ami,
Right.
Yeah.
So Ami, the thing is that the good part of being in Ahmedabad is that you are forced to use your brains. Like I was talking to the biggest designer in Bombay. We were sitting in Delhi and having a glass of wine, and we were talking. And he didn't feel the need to go to America. He didn't feel the need to go online. He was like, no, I'm happy in my space. I don't need to do that. Most of the designers don't have an organized online team. So my online team is like, I've told them never, what do you call it? say anything bad for another label or another designer. They're all my friends, and never say. So they very they'll just say that if a customer says, "Oh no, but why should I buy it from you? I'll buy it from that other designer. Also, he's also offering me this that." They will say, "Okay, why don't you put an inquiry there and let's say it for 3 days, and if you get a reply, then you go ahead. If you don't, I'm here for you." So my industry, people, because everybody is working from the heart, and then they don't feel sometimes the need to give good customer service, and but being in Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad has trained me really well for the best in service that is
If you
possible.
survive here, you survive in the world.
So yeah,
anywhere.
so I don't know if you've read that book that Kishore Biyani has written, that the first store I do ever is always in Ahmedabad. Any retail concept he tests is always in Ahmedabad. Of course, right now he's not in great shape, and there are some unbelievable things that have happened with future retail in the last 1 week or 2 weeks. But you saw what happened in that deal in the. Oh, no, oh, okay, yeah, yes. Right. Okay, so White Pro was not there outside. Oh, acha. Yeah, because this is the market where if it works everywhere. So if as a designer I worked here, I think logically I'm cleared out for all cities of the globe. It now just depends on Bhumika gives me permission to go somewhere and open a store. So when I was expanding, you saw my clips. I'm standing in New York doing things, and so doing shows in Atlanta here, there. My mom and Bhumika were like, "We are restricting you for 2 trips a year because of your health. Like we don't want
It's a
your
lot of hard work. It's a
Hard
lot
work.
of, you're meeting a lot of people, you're
Yeah.
organizing events to executing them. It's a lot of
So
work.
because you said, building a global brand. So I started pulling up images from before, which Nishant had never seen. And so when giving it to him to make this PPT, I was like, oh my God, I got tired looking at these because I just got to go through my entire journey of what kind of crazy work we have done, and what kind of crazy effort we put in all these events. So Bhumika and my mom had put a restriction that you will do only 2 trips a year in another time zone, because your health is also important. You can't just,
And we didn't have very large teams
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then. So
and
the
at least I
support
did not
was-
have the budget to fly 5 people
yes.
with me, and 4 cities in 1 trip. So I was allowed to do 8 cities in a year outside of the country. So, but that worked. So for 4 years I did that. Then I took everything online. But before that, I needed to understand the market. I needed to meet the customer, and from the both of us, again, Bhumika is the better one at handling the clients and everything. But I have the preference for customer service, and she's always with the workman. She loves the craftsman. She's always there, and I'm the one who loves the clients. And I have been almost there. Maybe probably you guys have met me at the store. For so many years, I've been there. Now I've taken a back seat because now there's some other work that I have to be behind my teams in all the cities. So I'm not on the floor now. But for many years, I was on the floor. So yeah. But answering your question, online, online is now like everything has gone online. Like even the remotest of person you knew who was not used to using computers is now doing Zoom calls, right? So that is a massive shift in the last 2 years, and online is a necessity. And so it has to be a mixed model of online and offline, I guess. So yeah, and you must work. I've been telling all my designer friends, 3 of them listened, and they've been blessing me through all this lockdown. That Shyamal, you told us to go. So I was sitting with 2 of my designer friends in Dubai, and I told them, please start. They were like, how come so many people come to your booth or wherever you were showing? And I'm more popular in India. I'm talking about Delhi's biggest designer. So he's telling me, I'm more popular than you in India.
Them,
and here you're popular than me.
Delhi is the world for them.
Delhi is the world for them
because thought beyond.
Yeah, because if you say I want to sell this outfit for 50 lakhs, you will get a person to pay that amount in Delhi. And here, just imagine what will happen if I try to do that. So yeah. So the thing is, what was the point I was trying to make? Sorry, I forgot. But yeah, online. Yeah, going online. So both of them I could convince them to start their focusing on the Instagram, and they're doing pretty well, and to take online orders. And they've both been blessing me through this whole time because their teams were also a little bit more prepared. Yeah.
So to cap our talk, I would like to ask the last question. So you are a couple in real life as well, right? And you are a couple in business as well. So how does that work? Because you are successful, you have made, this really work. And this is something, a lot of people have a taboo about this, right? Which is changing now, in the new generation,
I
it is
can
not
say
so.
we almost kind of grew up together. So
Yeah,
we
so 17
knew
is like,
17, 16 is like you literally,
yeah,
we were friends and
we've been
then,
doing business since we were 20. So,
yeah. And honestly, we don't meet. Our workplaces are different.
Yeah.
So I'm at
No,
the workshop.
I'm
He's more at
sometimes
the
I'm
store.
waiting in a queue.
So we don't meet.
Sometimes I'm waiting in a
At the-
queue.
No, that's he's hyping it up. No.
To meet Bhumika with
Aisa nahi
other
hoga,
design
Aisa.
assistants that she has.
No.
I'm not literally in the queue, but I'm on the chair on the side, but she doesn't notice. So she's so much in the, work.
When you're at the workshop, it's like a task you have to get done, with
Yeah.
multiple teams, and there's artists to your juniors to tailors to everybody. So it's
Yeah, and I try to not get in the line of fire, but and then again, it's easy if you if one of you can take a backseat at some point of time. Now, if I say I want to open a store in LA, and of course everybody was in shock that really, international law, this, that. And in 1 month, I had figured everything out. I met KPMG, I had done this, that, planned out a company, opened something. And 3-4 months down the line, the store was ready. And I thought there'd be a celebration. But when I came back, everybody at home was very serious. They were like, the store is going to fail. And then COVID happened and it couldn't open. On the day of the opening, Los Angeles shut down. I would have gotten stuck there, but it was Bhumika's birthday on 11th March. And so I said, I'll go on the 12th. And I had a show in London, which I canceled because I saw the school shutting down there. And I rescheduled my ticket for LA. I was going to go. I said, LA is shutting down. We can't open right now.
we shut down a week after that.
Yeah, and we shut down.
March,
So thank God I didn't go. But so when it opened for 6 months, obviously it was not doing the best. And then from January 2021, it suddenly started doing extremely well.
Because people were not traveling here, right?
Yeah.
So they had the option to visit that store.
So kind of, we trust each other with whatever we are doing. Today, I mean, neither of us put any limits on budgets or anything of the sort. I can do anything anywhere, and Bhumika can hire anybody anywhere or do any show or any celebrity, any expense.
And honestly, two people doing the same work doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we've kind of divided it very efficiently amongst ourselves since the beginning.
Yeah, but she is the boss.
Amazing. So thank you so much for this amazing talk. We really enjoyed. I'll just like to share that when we had gone to invite you for this talk, Shyamal bhai said that they usually don't go out for these kind of talks, and we are really lucky that we got time of both of you today, and this was a very candid conversation where we got to learn a lot of things. Thank you so much for everything.
Being here.
And I would just like to, thank all of you who joined us today. And please join us for, a group photograph. And then we will have some, light snacks. That's it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.